A lot of people are playing a different first-person shooter this week. We talked about Fallout. We talked about how fun Tomb Raider is, but people are really into Call of Duty. Last week we showed you what it looks like on last gen. Spoilers, not that hot. You can go back and watch those
we got a couple
clips.
images here. So specifically, there's one little bit I think we need to show off.
Yeah, we kind of glossed over this last week.
IGN has a proper like graphics comparison on the website, on all the video channels and so forth. I love this so much. This is the funniest thing I've seen in a video game in quite some time.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be exploring this futuristic, Middle Eastern city. In the Xbox One version, you go in and there's like Coalescence, and it's like a server farm or like a secret base there. It's a laundry room. It is a laundry room on Xbox 360.
Right.
That is the least futuristic room you can have. Short of a one that doesn't have any machines in it.
I feel like they did like a weird.
But it's like both sides of this stupid area. Look at this.
They did like a weird find and replace in the code. I don't know how video games are made, but it seems like the craziest stylistic design decision to say we're gonna turn this room from like this futuristic server room to this like weird. But they still put trash on the floor.
Yeah.
Like it's very odd.
So here's a closer look at the modern one. It's like that's all real futuristic. And then you look at the 360 one and it's like,
why is there so much laundry in this game?
This looks like a college dormitory that just has old vases and rugs everywhere.
Right?
I don't know. Like I'm kind of a fan of that just on the basis that it's Star Wars logic where they're like, what looks futuristic? That's set decorate. But it's also like, is this assuming that people who don't have an Xbox One are not high tech enough to know the difference between a laundry room and a server farm?
It's kind of shots fired at people with a last gen console. To be like, the difference between the last gen console and the current gen consoles are basically that one of them is futuristic and one of them cleans filthy poop stains out of clothes.
Yeah.
That's real gross. Call of Duty is probably the game from this fall that I'm skipping. I think I might get back I might get to the single player at some point.
I might jump into it. I actually had a really good time with Advanced Warfare. That's the only Call of Duty game I had fun with in multiplayer, just because it was like super goofy. Like you're jumping around with laser guns and doing weird super jumps.
Yeah, I feel like those games are getting so strange and so futuristic and cybernetic that they're actually coming back around to being appealing to me again.
Yeah.
In terms of being like sci-fi games, all of a sudden, I'm interested in that. We did some Let's Plays a couple weeks ago showing off some of the zombie modes and stuff. But in terms of big first-person shooters, I'm going with Battlefront. I think it's because it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. It's a little more casual.
If they put washing machines in that, we'd be like, "Whoa, there's washing machines in Star Wars Battlefront!" Yeah.
It would be that. Who's the guy with the ice cream machine and he runs out of the Death Star?
Wilro Hood.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of trivia. A lot of people know about this, but there's a dude in the background in the Cloud City scene in Empire.
Yeah.
He's running out when Lando's like, "You got to evacuate. The Empire's forces are here." And this guy just runs by in the background, and he's just this regular dude. He's wearing a sweater and some pants and some little boots, and he's carrying this white thing. And in 1980, it looked real futuristic, but now it looks like an old ice cream maker that they used to sell at like Sharper Image or like Hammacher Schlemmer or whatever. Yeah. It's just this goofy looking kitchen appliance. And so he's just like booking it in the background. And people are like, yeah, that's an ice cream maker. And there was this thing that happened a few years ago where Hasbro occasionally jumps on the horn and they're like, hey, fans of Star Wars toys, what character do we not have a toy of that you'd love to see? And they like open it up to fan voting and fan choice. And sometimes people are like, I want a cool Sith Lord from Knights of the Old Republic. And other times people are like, get that guy with the ice cream maker. And the guy with the ice cream maker actually won that voting contest one year, and they made a toy of him, and they gave him a whole backstory. His name was Wilro Hood, and he was like, he just moved to Cloud City, and he was like, I think they said it was like a computer terminal or something. Or maybe it was just an ice cream thing. But I mean, like Wilro Hood, like Hood is a creamery in the East Coast. Like that's a nice little nod to that. Anyway, now you know about Wilro Hood.
Right. So I kind of want that toy now.
I do too.
So we asked you guys on Twitter, which big game are you skipping this year and why? We got some awesome results to that. Jason Serafino says Metal Gear Solid 5 for now because there are not enough hours in the day. I'm totally with you on that. I played a ton of Metal Gear. I don't know if I'll ever go back and 100% it because it's just like, it's so hard to do that. Steven says, Fallout 4, I never played any of the other ones, so it didn't interest me. Plus, I'm too busy deadlifting 650 pounds. To which Chad Henderson responded, thanks for taking the time from your deadlifting 650 pounds to tweet this. To which Steven responded, I was using one arm to tweet and one to lift. Obviously.
I love that.
So Twitter's a good place.
It's a real weird, fun place.
Trey Weatherholt says, Call of Duty, I've skipped the last two. The game is geared more and more to children each year. Not the same great game it once was. I don't know about that.
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
A little bit.
Muath says, Batman Arkham Knight. Not really a big fan of superhero video games. Yeah, I mean, totally. I think that's one of the ones that, like, if you start thinking about games from like 3 or 4 months ago or 6 months ago, like if you skip The Witcher or Batman, catching up with those things right now seems insane.
Yeah, it's sort of like, they're also probably going to do Game of the Year editions like next year,
Yep.
and they'll be 30% cheaper, and they'll have all the DLC packed in.
Yep.
That's always cool. I don't know what the story is here. We got this image. We got a series of images. You ready for it?
Okay.
You
let's
ready?
do this.
You ready to look at it?
Do you sure you want to show this?
I'm sorry. If we get in trouble, if your mom walks in, not our fault. Totally our fault, but let's go.
Get ready to put your hand over the screen.
Oh!
All right. So this is a new Dragon's Crown statue. It's a tie-in to the game. You can pre-order it now. My problem with this thing is it is designed by people who have never seen a woman.
I have baked bread that looks more like a woman than this, and I'm bad at baking bread.
Okay, this looks like if you took 7 rolls of raw Pillsbury Doughboy stuff and you just mashed them all together and threw a bikini on them.
This is really upsetting. Like, I kind of get Vanillaware's art style. Like, they have some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
But like, of all the characters in that game you could make action or statuettes out of, I feel like maybe pick one that is just slightly less. It looks like the end of Akira.
What is going on there?
Stop. It's
Look at that.
really bad.
Oh man, that butt is just terrifying. It
That's
actually,
that's like powdered toast, man.
I was just gonna say,
yeah.
it looks like Ren and Stimpy use their butts to clap or pick things up when they get really excited.
Look at those-
That's what it looks like.
terrifying hip bones. Like that's.
I'm amazed that, I gotta say, on a technical level, I'm amazed they got her to stand and every amiibo has like 6 feet of glue underneath it to make it look like Diddy Kong's humping a block of ice or peeing on his own leg.
Everybody's got their own, personal tastes. I got a.
If this is yours, you
I
have
got
a problem.
real scary Nosferatu toy here. Some people are
Yep.
scared of Nosferatu. I got all these Garfield figurines. So if you're into that, that's cool. I just think that's a real dumb-looking statue.
This is a 1/6 scale version, so that means somewhere in the world is a real woman that this is modeled after.
What if they sent one of these to the office and we had to like unbox it?
I don't even know what to do. I like it actually physically repulses me.
It's pretty gnarly.
It is so gross.
It's it's kind of like this.
Pull it back up again. Let's do it again. Just
Why are we still looking-
just pull
I
it
mean,
back
you
up.
can't
Let's
look
at that.
away.
Look at that hot pile.
Why are
of
we
meat.
looking at it?
What is going on here?
It's the bones that are the
Has
worst.
anyone seen a woman? Has even one? Okay, I know hiring a woman is impossible if you make video games. That's the hardest thing in the world. Maybe hire a guy who's met one once. Hire a guy who's been on one date with one woman and she was like, I'm gonna take my top off. And he went back to the team with real research. That looks disgusting. That looks like a truck full of Thanksgiving turkeys crashed into an armory.
If you paint it green and had like a scary monster face, I'd be like, that's a cool orc. But it's sort of got a cute face, which makes it real upsetting.
So anyway,
Yeah.
this was the best year ever for toy sales. Despite that thing, it's not out yet. I think that might make the year go in reverse.
Yeah.
People are gonna be so repulsed by toys they're gonna bring them back. But this is a cool story.
This is my favorite news. This makes me so happy.
How much is this of this is our fault?
I think this is partially our fault.
Yeah.
So there's an AP story floating around that says that the U.S. toy industry is expected to have its strongest year in at least a decade after several years of kids choosing video games and mobile apps over Barbies and stuffed bears and cool action figures that launch missiles that your sister can choke on. But yeah, the annual toy sales are projected to rise 6.2% to $19.9 billion in 2015.
Yeah.
This is from the NPD Group, the same guys who do that Which Call of Duty sold the best this year. That's awesome. They say it's accredited a lot to Frozen, which is apparently the best-selling franchise of the year. Star Wars is kind of coming in on the rear there, but those toys didn't really launch until Force Friday, which is in September.
And they're hard to get.
Yeah, but like I think you can also probably blame that on stuff like Skylanders and Amiibo and Disney Infinity and Lego Dimensions.
Sure.
But that's such good news. I really like toys.
There's hope. There's hope for the future, Max. There's hope for future us's who will be hosting shows like this in 15 years, and they'll drag in all their wares off of their dumb desks.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I just like I've always been a toy guy. Like first, like I had toys before I had video games. Toys are something you can like carry with you wherever. You don't need batteries or electrical outlet to play video games.
Yep.
And like, I don't know if you've ever been in a toy forum, but those people are real nice. Toy nerds are lovely people. They're very pleasant. So that makes me really happy.
Well, because I think there's something special about playing with toys that translates to the real world, and that's that when you're a kid, you get this sort of mixed bag of action figures, and you make them all play together or fight with each other, whatever it is. I used to have like the foot soldiers fight Batman and stuff like that. It's really cool to have that sort of understanding that these things are from different places, but they all get along through the joy of crime fighting or kicking each other's asses or living in a cool castle together. And that's really awesome. I think that like it inspires creativity. It's inspires just sort of friendship and trading. There's a lot of like social nature that comes with toys that I think you lose just playing a endless running game on your phone.
Conversely, I was a very lonely child.
Yeah.
I had a Deadpool action figure that I really loved, and I would like steal clothes and accessories from other toys and like give them to Deadpool. So I gave him like Gambit's trench coat, and I told like a Playmobil guy his little hat. And so it was sort of like when Deadpool has to go to the grocery store, but he doesn't want to like wear his like, you know, bandoliers and swords everywhere. So he's just like, I'm gonna wear my like the Ninja Turtles that dress up in disguises. But then I'd make like little chairs and stuff for him to sit on and be like, I'm gonna play house with Deadpool. Because I like the idea of Deadpool being like, well, I'm done doing mercenary work. I'm gonna have some carrots. And then you have some little toy carrots to eat.
That feels like something he would do.
Yeah.
Ryan Messi on Twitter says, I'm watching with the show with my 1-year-old daughter. Am I giving her body issues with that horrific statue? Hashtag up at noon.
I don't think she can recognize that as human yet. That's so. You're probably good, you know.
Ancient Kazan, Ancient Kazan, I mean, that's redundant. Says, you guys should start a weekly show just about toys. God, I would love that. That would be a fun thing to do. But I feel like we get enough of it in here. Max and I, we want to do a weekly show about Star Wars. We want to do a weekly show about video games. We want to do a weekly show about being stupid and toys. But that's what we have up at noon for. We get to put a little bit of all of that in there. We went into the show this morning being like, I think we're not going to talk about Star Wars this week. That's weird. Oops.
We actually, on IGN, we asked what's the coolest toy you bought this year. We got some cool replies. Let's take a look. Andrew Goldfarb, who is a 12-year-old boy who works at IGN.
Beyond.
He bought this this little animal dog.
That's her name is Chi-Chi and the Rat.
Yeah. Here's one from a different 12-year-old boy who works at IGN.
Who are we hiring?
This is Mitch Dyer. These are theoretically adult men.
If you want to get a job at IGN, basically buy a bunch of capsule toys.
I actually went to Japan with Mitch, and all he bought was Persona stuff. That was pretty much his whole time.
Did I tell you what happened to me at New York Comic Con? Walking around with Goldfarb?
No.
So they were selling these Persona blind packs of cell phone. They were like basically keychains. And there was a 1 in 10 chance that you get the dog, and they were $10 each. And he bought like 15 of them and didn't get the dog.
That sounds like
isn't that the most
Goldfarb?
Isn't that the most like Charlie Brown Goldfarb story
there
is?
Guy. This guy's got the robot BB-8.
Oh, BB-8. That's
he's gonna make it fight ducks. This is great.
Oh my God,
this is so cool. Yeah, get him.
Yes!
Get him. Go get him. Yes.
This is awesome.
Mess him up. Yes. Yeah, BB-8. That is awesome. I'm so glad we were gonna pull that out. Okay.
What a treat that was. I was not expecting that at all.
What if you just rolled that straight into the water? He was just out like 200 bucks.
I would have been terrified doing